smells like frozen 9-volt batteries. You ever have that dad that went along?
I can't say I've ever had frozen 9-volt batteries.
My dad had this superstition that the freezer rejuvenated batteries.
Oh God, you're right. Though.
He would fucking like,
dude. I thought it smelled like natural gas.
Garlic. That's what it smells like. Somebody's got some shit in that.
Garlic. I can garlic my own balls. Thank you.
Well, on that note, we should probably drink this.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Let's drink this.
All right, guys. Here. What we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about the first 2 episodes that we filmed so far.
Yeah. So in this episode, we're talking about Mark Landis.
You got the record mode going?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Mark Landis.
There's been some new developments since we recorded. One that he has a website where he does commissions. And you can choose what format to get the commission in, what size, and upload your photo for him to copy for you. But he will not do copyrighted stuff anymore.
Allegedly.
I mean, Bam, you had a great idea where you could like...
So my idea was I'm just going to start putting together ideas for my own paintings in Photoshop. And then I'm going to shop it out to him, have him do my paintings, and then pull a Mark Landis and just put my name on his work and then sell them as my originals.
Perfect.
How very modern art of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inception.
Yeah.
Instead, I was thinking you could get him to forge one of your paintings that you've already done. And that'd be hilarious.
Pretty cool too.
And then be like, I'm so popular. This guy is forging my paintings.
You could make a fake documentary about you being forged by him. Can I be the asshole that's like, hey, we gotta stop this guy. My online gallery got a painting from Bam Maslar. Turns out it's really a copy.
I'm gonna get this guy. I fucking swear.
I swear one of these days you'll see.
And then we're going to get
see.
We'll get footage of your kids like saying, who's this? It's like, oh, that's Bam Maslar.
Just yelling.
You fucking get him!
Just yelling calm down at them randomly.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Calm down!
Making a raw chicken quesadilla. Yeah, I think that's it for like the Mark Landis episode. So
Tune in.
Here is the Mark Landis episode.
Check.
It's good.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I'm confused. Don't wanna be confused.
We're live.
We're live. Hi, everyone.
So, I mean, not live. I mean, we're not broadcasting to a bunch of people, you know, but
you guys want to go Facebook Live here?
We're recording.
Good.
No.
Put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
No.
Oh, she chimed in.
Okay, so we're back for another episode here. I'm really excited to talk about this guy today.
Oh, this guy's awesome.
We watched this documentary last night, so we'll get into that in a second. But today we have Christina Maslar with us.
Hi. I'm Christina Maslar.
Aren't you excited?
Totally.
Christina, tell us about yourself.
I'm a tattoo artist, and I like to paint.
Well, you're also part of Crucible Gallery
Bam
with your husband Bam here.
Before.
Yeah.
What's your Instagram? At Christina Maslar? Christina_Maslar? Is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
You set it up, Brandon, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
I put things on there, and they show up.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Super talented oil painter. Glad to have you here.
Yes.
This will be a fun little talk.
Yeah, we talked about some of your paintings last time.
We did show some, the horse head chick thing out there.
Nice.
Oh, mention that the gallery's got the open submissions currently.
Yep. Got open submissions through the end of January. Info at crucibleartgallery.com. Can submit. There's Reggie enjoying his fine.
And of course, our fine beverage sponsor
We
of
got
the
cups
evening.
this time.
Look how legitimate these glasses are from the North Brewery.
We just had a short interview with Zach from the North Brewery, which we'll probably splice into this episode somewhere.
Cut in somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
guys,
Did
are
you
you
wanna-
guys gonna hold this one up and tell me about this Landis dude?
I mean, you watched it today. You got the gist.
A
of it.
little bit, but
We're going
you
to
know what I
dive
mean.
into it a
Let's,
little more. Today, we're going to be talking about Mark Landis, renowned art forger. Bam, you got some research you've done on this guy.
Yeah, this dude's amazing. Well, kind of research. So, biggest issue with him, though, it's kind of sad, is that there's actually not much information about him other than what's in this documentary.
I mean, that's really all you need, though.
Yeah, but it's you kind of want to research him more and find out more about like what makes him, why is he doing these things that he's doing. But yeah, basically the rundown and the gist of the documentary is dude was born in the 50s, 1955, I believe, and his dad was in the military, in the Navy, and he just traveled all the time. So he lived overseas, he lived in the Philippines, lived in Hong Kong, moved all over. And I guess when he was in Germany, he got bored one day and just started, for his friends, just making fake stamps.
Yeah, from what it sounded like in the documentary, his parents were just like leaving his ass alone in a hotel room for most of the day.
Yeah,
or
they
some
just
shit.
He was an OG latchkey kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And basically, he just started doing these stamps and trying to just gave them to friends and just did stupid things like that. And then eventually they moved back to the United States. And around was the 70s, about 1971, 1972, his dad ended up passing away. And that's pretty much where he all went downhill.
So that was before he was hospitalized, I'm guessing.
That's actually when he became hospitalized.
okay.
What was
Yep.
he hospitalized for?
He had a nervous breakdown when his dad died, and they diagnosed him at that point with whole massive issues. He was reading off, he found all his papers because dude's a hoarder, and he had just all his paperwork still there, and he knew where everything was too. And I mean, he was pulling out like schizophrenia, I believe dissociative identity disorder, bipolar.
Yeah, definitely some personality disorders.
Yeah,
I think that kind of feeds into what he did, you know?
Yeah,
Pretty
seems
much.
so.
Or, you know, what he is presumably still doing.
Oh yeah, he's up until at least 2012, definitely. Yeah, so at that point he was hospitalized. He kind of just bounced around, I guess, at that point for years, and then mid 80s ended up moving back in with his mom and
His mother.
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 Yes.
He calls her mother.
And
So you know he's got
Ah.
some issues.
art forgery is probably the best outcome from someone that calls her mom mother.
Yes. Yeah, he could have totally been like a fucking Norman Bates kind of
Yeah.
guy, you know? Like he could have just fucking murdered
hi,
people.
mama.
Yeah.
No, mother.
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 Oh, yeah.
It was
Dad and
never-
mother.
It was dad.
He doesn't say mom at
Mother.
all throughout the whole documentary. It's just,
Never.
here's a picture of mother.
Yeah. And that's the best part. So when he first started actually forging, like really doing forgeries as opposed to the stamps, it was in honor of his dad who was deceased at that point, and it was artist Maynard Dixon. He did a piece for him, and he donated it. I'm not even sure where he donated at that point, and he did it to just try and impress his mom.
Mother was proud.
Yeah, that's what he kept saying. He goes, I don't think she would have been mad. I think she was proud. Yeah. It was very unsettling at that point. And then basically he just kind of went off the rails.
Rewind to that a little bit. What were you saying the sort of compliment was that he got from his mom? Like he tried to sell something off, and that was like one of the.
That's the biggest thing.
His
is
mom
he
was
never
like, "Oh,
he
she
never
was,
sold.
I mean,
these.
the
Yeah.
first time he produced a fake. Like,
Yeah.
what was that you were just saying?
What he was saying was, he goes, I don't think she would have been mad. I think mother was proud.
Just talking about his whole career as a
Yeah.
Forger.
Okay. Yeah.
On a side note, did they ever show pictures of him and his parents as a child together?
Nope.
No.
Do we know if any of that backstory is actually fucking true?
I mean,
That-
I guess that's where he gets most of his issues from, is just, you know, being left in a fucking hotel room all day to just copy shit. Like,
Yeah.
just
Well, that's
keep
the other
himself
thing.
busy.
That's the other thing. When he first started then doing these copies and doing these forgeries, he would go into the museums and he'd go into, one point it looked like a library that he was doing it, like universities, and he would just make people up. Like he had
His sister.
his sister.
That was one thing that really caught that I did notice
Yeah.
like super early on in the movie. He's like, "Oh, that's a portrait of my sister."
We should probably mention
my
that
sister
the name of
actually
this
alive.
documentary is Art and Craft,
Yep,
and it's
Art and
on Amazon Prime right now for anybody that wants to check this out because it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah. And then from there, basically, I guess.
He had that thing where he was like, "I like to make people up, so I can always just say something to get out of stories, or just tell weird things, and people just stop asking questions."
See, I think that's like a high for him, you know?
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just to make shit up.
just
It's
get
gotta be.
people.
Like he dresses up as a priest most of the time too,
He
like
does.
to
Yeah, that's the
pass
thing,
off
it's like-
art.
He's gone by a whole bunch of aliases, and he never admits that it's wrong. He always is like, people tell me it's wrong.
He's like, whatever, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this shit. This is what I do for fun, guys.
Yeah, but he
I
just
don't clean my fucking house because it's a goddamn mess. So,
he's a whole
That's how things look so distressed. He just walks on them for a couple of years.
yeah. I mean, watching him do that
Hey.
stuff is kind of awesome, though.
He
Like,
had some good tips. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's just like pouring coffee on it."
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
just
Like,
to, like,
oh, that's kind
to,
of
like,
a cool
stain
idea
paper.
for some.
Yeah, and that's
Old
the
drawings,
best
you
part
know?
is it literally opens up with him just hanging out in Hobby Lobby, looking at these pieces and looking at this junk supplies. Like he's
Yeah.
like, Rose art, I think that's good. And it's the
I used to like
like-
going to Home Depot, but they closed now.
They don't
and I
have
go-
one here.
and
They
now I
got
gotta
Lowe's. It's
keep going
just as
to
good.
Lowe's. But they just good.
He does have generic Family Guy old dude voice.
Yeah, for sure. For sure he does. I think that has
Oh,
something
that
to do with
is
all
like-
the
oh
meds
my
that he's
God.
on, though, because he's
gotta be.
definitely
Well,
on
isn't
some
that
shit.
like the stereotypical guy that's the archetype for like those type of characters, like that effeminate, weird Southern man that's just gonna creep up on you? I'm just gonna get you.
Yeah, for sure. For fucking sure. But yeah, like he definitely seems like he's on some serious drugs to manage all his conditions. Like it's amazing that he can still pull off like all this creativity that he has for
he's
art forgery.
he's amazing too. And
Yeah.
it's, like the techniques that he has behind this stuff, like in one of the scenes, he's sitting there and he's like showing you how he'll do it, and he's holding on and he's painted all of this, and then he's looking at it and he's like, oh wait, there should be some grass over here, and he's just like
Yeah.
finger painting across it and everything, and it makes no sense. And then he just shows it to the camera and it looks identical.
All right, this is the guy we're talking about for those watching here. Mark Landis. Kind of a trollish looking dude.
He's also actually a troll.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
he's like pretty much the
art troll. That's what he is.
he's one of the biggest art trolls. And then going back to what you were saying about the whole like making money at this, no, that's the best part is he's never tried to sell these pieces.
That is
That's
one
the
thing I
only
did pick
reason
up.
he hasn't been arrested.
There was no
Exactly.
legal action or recourse, which was why that university guy was pulling his hair out.
Yep, and that's what leads me to that is that so
With all
that's
the
basically
bad
how
stuff he's done. He's still not the bad guy in this movie.
yeah.
that's what
He's actually pretty down to earth,
He's
cool.
not the villain.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't hang out with him really, but like, he's not an asshole. He comes across as a very sincere person.
he'd be interesting to hang out and have a beer with, although with his meds it might.
Well, I don't know.
Or his pocket whiskey that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
keeps
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
a Pepto
Oh,
bottle.
yeah.
It's like, oh man, I don't know if a guy with that would drink, but it's like, wait a second, wasn't he filling jugs of Mylanta?
Yeah, it was like some
Yeah,
antacid.
like,
Like as soon as the documentary starts, it's a clip of him just pouring like it looked like wine or
3-liter
something.
bottle of like
Yeah.
hooch.
And he pulls it from. I couldn't tell if it was under the bed or if it was behind the
It was
nightstand.
behind a pile of furniture and or garbage.
Yeah, he just whips it out. Like he's a hoarder, so there's shit all
But
over
it's
his
vase
apartment.
size.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And he pours it in there. And the only good part is he said that anytime he has to go and talk to somebody at a museum or university or something, he always has to have a shot beforehand.
Mhm.
But he's like, but I make sure I never drive. I always bring it with me.
I don't want to get too fucked up.
That's probably like the only like part he was actually
Same thing.
attached for having a camera around. He's like, oh wait, they might think drinking and driving's wrong.
I might
Everything
get in
else
trouble
in my-
for this. I can't do that.
Yeah. And
What I want to know though is where he makes his money, because he has a nice apartment with actual like oil paintings hanging on the wall.
but are they actual oil paintings or is this just shit that he's done?
Doesn't matter. It
A
looks
nice
like the
car.
actual thing.
Yeah.
He's so good at
Yeah.
forging art, he can just
Yeah.
put whatever the fuck he
Dude,
wants up
dude
there.
drives like a brand new Cadillac too.
Well, yeah, from what I understand, that the apartment and the car were his mom's, and his mom passed away like 2 years before they filmed this documentary.
Yeah, in 2000.
Yeah, mother.
Yeah, 2000.
Excuse
It's
me,
mother's
sir.
car.
Yeah, 2010 is when she died. Yeah, but he was doing it all the time up until that point. And it was around 2007 that he actually got known for doing this because the art villain, as you put it, was Matthew Leninger. Yeah, Matthew Leninger. And it was from the Oklahoma City Museum of Art.
All right, can I just say something about this guy? Fuck this guy. He's a fucking asshole.
He is like the biggest.
Like this guy that's trying to
asshole.
take him down is just like the biggest piece of shit. Like he
like-
The entire documentary, you're just feeling for this guy who's clearly got like mental disorders and everything. And
Yeah.
he's just a sweet old man that's just, and the entire time he's working, he's sitting on his bed
yeah,
and he's watching his like 19-inch television,
VHS tapes.
VHS tapes. And the best part is watching VHS tapes on how to be a priest because he's studying those to then be able to go and.
Well, I think he's studying like old movies from like the 60s and 70s. As
Right, but he's-
how to be a priest. You know,
Right,
he's
and,
thinking,
and
like,
he's doing it as like a character development. So when he goes and he's like making up these whole backstories about it and everything. At one point, he's walking across campus with a dude, and at the end of it, he stops him, and the guy's like goes to shake his hand, and he stops him, and he like blesses him instead.
yeah, it's some
great.
deep cover shit right there.
Yeah, so in 2007, he reached out to Matthew Leninger, who was the registrar at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art.
Was it that or was it the Cincinnati one?
Nope, this one he was in Oklahoma at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he had a
Which gives us a sense of context on all of this, because a lot of the museums and art colleges that are fooling were a lot throughout the Midwest, right? Like Missouri, Ohio.
so
Probably
they
anything within driving distance. of
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But he did fly a few times.
yeah, so they know over 20 states, and they can guarantee at least 50 museums that there's pieces found in.
Wow.
Over 100 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he donated at that point, and that's how he got away with it for so long, is because he was going to these smaller museums that maybe didn't research as much
Yeah,
as
they're
they
just
should
like,
have.
oh, you got this awesome fucking painting.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we'll take it. No research
Yeah,
needed.
They probably thought they might have hit the lottery. You know what I mean? Because that's what you're kind of keeping your fingers crossed for. Like, oh, sister died.
Yeah,
And left me
meanwhile,
all
he's
this
just making all
artwork
this
that I
shit.
don't know what it is.
Well, that's the thing is,
I think it's expansive.
Yeah, so
so you
he-
guys can have it.
I love at the beginning where he messes up immediately and no one catches it. He's like, sister, left me all of this artwork when she pretend died.
She pretend died.
yeah. So he just reached out to this guy one day and was like, I got this Louis Vuitton painting, who's an impressionist artist. And so they took it and they were like, oh, this is awesome. And a couple months later, they were just on camp or at the museum, and he just showed up one day. And he's like, oh, I got all these other pieces for you guys and everything. And at that point, after meeting him, that's when he got super suspicious. He was like, oh, this guy seems super Weasley and everything. What's going on? And he had all these pieces by like Paul Signac and everything like that. And that's when the guy started researching and found it. The originals were actually at Savannah College of Art and Design.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, weren't there like multiple pieces in multiple museums at the same time?
Yes. So when he found like one specific piece he liked doing, he would just keep doing it.
And just keeps donating them?
Yeah. So at one point there was 5 different museums with the same original.
And back to the point, mind you, like no money has changed hands.
Yeah,
yet
this guy's
just
with,
doing
like,
this for
all of
fucking
this
fun.
stuff.
Not
He's
at all.
just claiming to
Yeah.
like ignorant bliss while he's just handing them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the point that you bring up about Matthew Leninger being like the biggest asshole, is that basically he just goes off the deep end at that point, like Hardy Boy style, just trying to find this dude.
Do you think he got fired because he went full Pepe Silva? With
Yes.
boards and yarn?
Yes. And that's the best part. is
That
the-
was side note. That's is Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference provided by Christina. Pepe Sylvia. And Charlie losing his shit at work. Moving on.
But yeah, they fired that dude's ass because he was so obsessed with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah, at one point they reached out to him and they're like, "Hey, you can keep your job just as long
Just
as
fucking knock
they
this
were
shit
like,
off.
just as long as you don't talk about him anymore." And then like 4 months later, they were like, "Hey, remember that time we told you don't do that anymore? Yeah, we're gonna have to let you go."
Yeah. And he's like, there's like a clip of this guy in this documentary. He's like, yeah, times are hard. I just don't make money anymore. I work part-time.
I'm a stay-at-home dad raising this kid. Behave!
Yeah, this guy seems
And
like the
his
kind of
kids-
asshole that would like take down people on Twitter for shit they said 15 years ago kind of guy.
The thing
you
that's-
know?
He had the demeanor of like a jerk off security guard.
Yeah. Fucking
You know
Paul
what I mean?
Blart, mall cop.
The thing that freaked her out the most.
He was making his kid a quesadilla, and it was like raw chicken on a quesadilla, and his kid's just like, yay. And he's like, can you please calm down? I know you're excited for school, but calm down.
I gotta bust this art thief.
And then his like 4-year-old's just like, hey Dad, are you mad at your friends from your old job that fired you?
This kid's trolling him.
Yeah,
You don't understand. I gotta solve the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
And then he calls her over at one point. He's like, "Who's that?" She's like, "Mark Landis."
Yeah, like he's like grooming his kids to go after this guy too in case he doesn't get the job done.
Carry on my legacy.
The bird will be
child.
like dogs barking at a picture. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
That's right. You get him. Get him.
Yeah, so fuck that guy.
What the best part is they're both. So while it cuts from Mark Landis sitting in his bedroom on his bed, sitting there working on this art with like OCD, I'm just going to be sitting here working, to Matthew in his bedroom on a computer going, I got to find this guy.
Doing the same
Meanwhile-
Doing
fucking
the exact
thing.
same thing, going, I got ADD, OCD. And it's like, those are two completely different things, but
Meanwhile, Matthew's having this mental breakdown. Mark is over there making him a recalendar and just enjoying it and living his best life.
Yeah. Just eating TV dinners like a motherfucker. Yeah, the fucking even the FBI guy was like, he's really the only one who gives a shit about this dude.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And so they brought in Robert Whitman, who's the was the creator of the FBI art theft department. And so they bring him in and they're like talking to him about it and everything. And they're asking him like, oh, what can we do to catch him? And he's like, he flat out says, he's like, it's the responsibility of the museum when they receive a gift to actually figure out if it's real.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
be responsible.
My favorite part about this is he can paint and draw, but when he goes full Mr. Bean and just starts slapping paint and varnish on top of a photocopy and
Yeah.
just puts it in a frame, he's like, that's good enough.
Well,
and people
he did
accept
it. Yeah, he
it.
did a fucking great job
He
though.
did,
Like
he did it
just,
with a Picasso. Yeah.
he got like a fucking FedEx Kinko's printout and just like pasted it to a piece of board that he cut from
He's
fucking
got
Lowe's.
some funny
It was
tricks,
Home
man.
Depot. It was Home Depot. That's
Yeah.
when he brought up Home
If
Depot.
anybody's listening and not going video, A, pour your coffee on your wood. B,
And I love that they show him going shopping and he has like 4 giant things of Folgers. And they're like, you haven't done that in a while, have you? He's like, no.
By the way, did you see his coffee maker?
No.
And there's like a clip of his apartment, and it's disgusting. Like the one that he's actually making coffee in. I hope he's not drinking this shit because it's a hoarder's place. There's a shit everywhere. Like he's living in filth, pretty much.
It's amazing.
I love how Matthew's like analyzing everything. He's like, this is old paper. Where'd he get this? And I'm thinking his apartment. He's lost it since the 50s. Just found it under a pile of things and was like, oh, a piece of paper.
I don't even think that was like legit paper though. I think he just made it and fucking douchebag thought it was like, oh yeah, this is official stuff. I don't know how we got this stuff.
Yeah, but the Picasso that he did, it was they put like the black light on it and they're looking at it and they're like, you can clearly see the sections where he didn't even bother painting
yeah.
on top of the printout.
Yeah.
or like a normal magnifying glass. He's like, oh, I see the pixels. I found them. I see pixels.
And that's the thing is he didn't even start doing that until almost the end. Like up until that point, he was straight up painting and drawing these.
Yeah. His technique is so good too. Like he just captures everything. Like there's that little scene where you see him actually like tracing a drawing the way he does it. It's kind of like having tracing paper over top of what he's sketching, but it's not transparent paper. He just keeps flipping back and forth real fast.
Yeah, he's sitting there with it, and he's got the one paper underneath, and he's like flipping it up and like drawing what he sees there. And he's like, yeah, it's part of my mental or my issues that I have. He's like, I can see it, but only until it's done. And then after that, I don't even remember what it looks like.
Yeah, and he said something about like the hospital he went to was very interested in that or some shit.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like it's
he was a
very
case
rare.
Study.
Yeah, he had to have been.
Yeah.
If he wasn't, he should have been.
I forget the name of the place he went to, but that was basically the mental hospital that he was checked into.
I was.
And I found it
Kansas.
interesting. Yeah, he checked himself out after a year because he said something along the lines of like people who stay in like a place like that just end up there their whole lives.
They don't get
Pretty
better.
much.
Yeah, they never
So
get
he's like,
better.
I'm over this place, you know. He's like a very functional schizophrenic as far as schizophrenics go.
He basically takes all his cues from movies. It's like, spoiler alert, don't fuck with cats, but with paintings instead of murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically.
He's just like, oh, I saw people calm down by smoking cigarettes in movies, so I'll stop taking my medicine and just smoke some cigarettes.
Yeah, and then he starts smoking in that one scene and almost passes the fuck out.
Yeah, he's like wobbling back and forth, and he stumbles like 8 feet.
I gotta sit down.
He catches himself on a building. He's like, oh, there is a wall. Oh,
I also love how do you know the school that put on the art show for him?
that was DAAP in Cincinnati.
Okay.
That was the Cincinnati, Ohio that you brought up before.
Yeah,
That's where it
but,
eventually was.
They put on that huge art show for him, which was awesome. I thought, like that reporter guy reached out to him, right?
Yeah, it was Aaron Cohen.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
who reached out to him.
Yeah, so they put that show together, and then everybody's there, and like 60 different people at the show are just like, why don't you just paint your own things and put your name on them and sell them?
Yeah, and the best part is then Robert, or Matthew Leninger shows up.
Yeah,
And Mark comes in, and he's just like, oh, yeah, it is you, and just continues walking past him. And you can just see like 5 years, 7 years, or whatever, how long it's been, just rage and just like
Dude
soul
is
crushing
pissed.
that he didn't even recognize him.
And
then
Mark
he
Landis-
tries to like be again like, oh, hey, how was your flight? And he's like, oh, I remember you. We couldn't have talked for very long. And then
Yeah.
just kept trying to walk away.
And then
I
eventually,
felt like he was going to
Anyway.
just stab him in the neck or something with a pencil, you know?
and then it
With
cuts to
John
him,
Wick on him.
and then it cuts to him standing there looking at the artwork. And Matthew walks up to him, and he's talking to him for like probably like 30 seconds. And then Mark just kind of like looking up in the distance, like, is there anyone nice here that I could talk
Is
to?
there anyone interesting I could talk
No,
to?
nice. It was nice.
And then he's like, but I thought I'm interesting. Am I not interesting? He's like, no, you are. Maybe I should have said, is there anyone else here I could talk to?
He kept calling him nice. He wanted him somebody nice to talk to.
And he wasn't even trying to be a dick, you know? He's just trying to socialize. I feel like he doesn't get out that much to
He had no
actually
idea
do that.
how to function.
Yeah, so he's like trying to find anybody to talk to while he's there because they're all there for him, you know? That's like his moment in the sun.
I picked up a great art tip when he was walking around. Because when he was walking around and talking to all these people, she's like, oh, I'd like to make my own jewelry. He's like, oh, that's great. Arts and crafts should be for everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to all have a great... One thing I do recommend for when you're making arts and crafts is make sure you're watching television. It's like, oh, okay. Great tip. Nailed it. All right.
Yeah.
Put that one in my pocket and take that one home.
That's what he does. I feel
Yeah,
like
he's just sitting there with that like 12-inch tube TV
Yeah.
from like 19...
With
Yeah.
the VCR built in at the bottom.
Yeah, it's like some fucking early 90s TV action.
He's talking to these art students who've gone to school for years, have soul-crushing debt. Meanwhile, he's just sitting there with Marie Callender watching a tube TV and just
In his
doodling.
shitty apartment that's just covered with everythking. Probably
making
hasn't vacuumed the
master
place in
copies.
30 years.
Yeah, that was the part that like made me sad at the very end. He kept going. He kept asking when he was asking about different people to talk to. He's like, "Are there any like art students here? I'd really like to talk to a real artist." Yeah, and they were like, "Well, aren't you a real artist?" He's like, "No,
Yeah,
I just
he's
like-
so humble though. He
I just
doesn't
like to-
realize
I
like,
just like to make stuff sometimes."
yeah, he doesn't realize how good he is at what he's doing. you know?
yeah.
And
That
I-
guy could totally take like a photo of something and just do like an awesome like impressionist painting of it and sell it for a shit ton of money. but he doesn't have the mental faculties, I think, to do that. I think he just wants to copy stuff.
Yeah.
And at one point, one of the art students was like, yeah, I mean, you said like 60 people bring it up. But she was like, why don't you do your stuff? And he's like, oh, I do. This one's of Mother.
He did say that.
And it was the only original in the entire.
My favorite thing is at that interaction with him and Matthew's like, do you think that looking at catalogs is an accurate representation? Like trying to really stick it to him. And he's like, no, what colors are they? I'd really like to know. That'd be funny. He's just like.
Yeah, he calls him over to the Louis Vuitton that he sold to or gave to him like 10 years earlier. And that's the one that like this guy has gone off the deep end searching him for. And he's like, do you think it looks accurate? I'm not sure if it looks accurate. I've never seen it in person.
That Matt Langer guy is just trying to like get him at some point.
Really
The whole
stick it
time
to
they're
him.
interacting, he's just like, fucking whatever, man. Like,
And Mark is saying this, and you just see him in the background, like eyes wide, like he doesn't even know what colors to use.
Do you think he's gonna have some kind of mental breakdown and end up like some villain on Scooby-Doo?
This was in 2014. The documentary came out. I haven't found any record of him since. So,
well, I mean,
who knows?
he's probably still trying to bust this guy.
He's still going full Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in there like with a map of the country and pins and string, tying it all together.
I'm gonna get this guy if it's
Like,
the last
honey,
thing
do you
I
want to
do.
work on arts and crafts? Dad, it's just yarn with photos. I don't understand.
So yeah, that's Mark Landis.
Yeah.
Anything else about this
Amazing.
guy that you found interesting?
His entire life. Yeah.
Oh, what you were saying about him not being able to just sort of replicate and do anything itself, doesn't that come down to like some of those identity issues that he like suffers? You know what I mean?
I assume it ties into that.
He
somehow,
probably
for
has
sure.
no sense of like personal ego. Therefore, he's like, projecting himself onto like the replication, like proving skill through.
Kind of though, because at one point he kind of lets it slip that he's basically like, they're like, why do you do this? And he's like, I like to know that it's mine or something like that. It was something along those lines where he just like, he likes to be able to go back to those places and know that that's not an original.
But the lost sense of self also sort of plays into the characters that he's plays while he's trying to sell the shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my dead so-and-so relative left me all this. And every time he's got a different story or he's a different character. And he's just kind of like.
I think that's a
very
big
odd
thing for him
psychological,
is to
like,
be
case
able
study.
to do something like that, though.
They
play a role.
They don't actually mention it, but pretty much at the end, they're showing one of his pieces, and they don't mention if it's supposed to be a copy or if it's supposed to be an original. But they zoom in on it, and it says Arthur Landis Jr. Art Institute, which that was actually his dad, which started the whole thing. So I don't know if he was like making copies of work and like sneaking things into it as well to just try to bring back his dad.
Maybe. Might be tied to that.
No.
Do you think his house was such a mess because he was waiting for a housekeeper to come check on him like the good old days?
Well, he did
clean it
have
up?
social services workers that came in to check up on him every now and then that were like worried about him,
Yeah.
Yeah, like the cameras followed him to his mental health checkups.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I used to take lorazepam. It's empty.
It's like, yeah, you tell he's on heavy ass drugs
Oh, yeah.
because he's like sedated
Yeah,
mostly.
it's great.
And if he's not, he's on the cigarettes and hooch.
Yeah, so even though we gave away a lot of the details of that documentary, it's still amazing to watch.
Yeah, you just got to watch this guy like do what he does because it's amazing.
Not even just that, not even just the artwork that he's doing. It's the characters that he's building and like this whole backstory
the
and
fake
everything.
backstories.
I feel like they didn't focus on the even more impressive than him forging artwork was forging paperwork to show that he got these things from Christie's.
That's
or
right, yeah.
auction
Yeah.
houses.
Mm-hmm.
He was
And
just getting these
Yeah, he was
seals.
he was
in there.
forging provenances and
Yeah.
everything too. Yeah,
And apparently museums are just like, looks good to me. Looks legit. Let's put it up. Yeah,
how do you have the FBI come to you and be like, nope, you didn't commit a crime, even though you know. your entire life is just made up.
He was just catfishing people with artwork. It was great.
Yeah.
People, just like one guy. Like one
Yeah,
guy
one
got
guy.
catfished.
One
One
guy.
guy got.
One guy just couldn't
Like-
let it go.
Everyone else is like, that sucks. I hope he stops. And he's like, I must make him stop.
Yeah, everyone else that got interviewed that got duped, they're like, I feel dumb, but it's not
Yeah,
the
they-
only person it happened to. Meanwhile, he's just like, you see his Terminator eyes going on his like big bald face, you know?
He's like,
Yeah, they interviewed one woman and she's like, they were like, how did you react? She goes, I went in the other room and I took it off the wall.
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah. What
was
He had
it?
a completely
One
healthy,
lady was
normal
just like,
reaction
well,
to it.
How'd
I'm
you
the only
react?
person it
I
happened
lost
to.
my career, and I'm assuming his wife because
I got fired from my job. My kids hate me because
I'm
I
completely-
made them memorize who Mark Landis is.
I'm completely unemployable.
Yeah. I'm a general piece of shit.
Yeah, you just brought up a good point. His kid was on camera, but I don't remember him ever actually having a wife.
Was this kid like, Mommy said she'll come back if you stop calling her Mark Landis?
Yeah, stop calling her Mark in her sleep.
Yeah. Oh, Mark Landis, I'm going to fuck you.
Maybe she's just so over it. She's like, I don't want to be filmed. I don't want to be part of this bullshit any longer. Why are you making a movie about this?
I'll never
Hey,
hear the
so
end of
have you tried like sleeping or getting a job this week? Like, no, not with Mark Landis out in the wild.
He's alive.
I swear I'm going to get him.
I know he's alive.
He's ruining another Midwestern suburban art gallery.
that community college will never recover. Nope.
But
Oh my
isn't
God.
all in all, isn't that the whole point of the joke? Like, maybe he's not clever enough for it actually to be a joke, but that guy obsessing about it kind of makes it a thing.
It's fucking hilarious.
You know, which segue, isn't that why the banana kind of came a thing? Is because everybody fucking obsessed about it?
Are you talking
Yeah.
about the recent Art Basel banana? In,
Yeah.
December
About
December this last
depending
year.
on when we released, we had the art banana about a month ago here, which made
Yeah.
a lot of news and art news.
Typical modern art bullshit.
Kind of somebody got with a banana.
It's great because with Crucible Gallery, we kind of follow a lot of artwork coming in and out of galleries and a lot of artists and everything like that. I can't even name any other pieces that I've heard about coming out of Art Basel this year.
No.
Like that, this is straight up the banana story. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And it's great because it starts like every single day there was like a new story about it.
Mhm.
It wasn't just a one-time story. It was every single day there was some great, amazing thing that happened with this fucking banana.
Yeah. Which
a guy
everybody-
ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which everybody played into, though. You know what I mean? It was like the most talked about thing there. And if it was just a kind of a joke that was holding a mirror back to the art world, then like
Well, that's
everybody got because they were all taking
that's exactly
selfies against it and being like, oh my God, you me.
yeah, that's exactly it. For those who don't know, basically this guy he hasn't shown work in years, and it's a European gallery with an artist from Italy that decided to bring him in.
Do you recall his name?
I can't remember offhand.
Is it really important though?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
He basically considers himself a comedian artist.
Well, wasn't that the initial title of the bananas was the comedian?
So I think so.
Yeah.
And basically they convinced him to come show at the art fair, and he rolled into town with basically his book bag of clothes, and that was pretty much it. And then was like, oh yeah, I probably should do something for the show, and stopped at a fruit stand on the way in, bought 3 bananas,
Playing it by ear.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah,
No big deal.
We're going live.
rolled up with 3 bananas, a roll of duct tape, and just taped them to the wall, and then was like, $120,000 per banana.
Yeah.
Do you think Gallagher saw that and lost his shit?
He just
Like a
wanted.
comedian with fruit? I've been doing this for my whole life.
It would have been great if he showed up and just smashed it with a
Just smashed
sledgehammer.
it. Yeah.
That would have been better than some schmuck just peeling it off the wall and eating it.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on that?
I fucking hate all this. Like, I just wish that whole thing would just burn
It's
down.
a publicity stunt, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
of course,
it's just
but-
like
That's like the no skill part of art. You know? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He played the crowd, man. It's like the only thing.
I
that
mean, I
people
guess
were
that's a
talking
skill,
about
but
it.
it's also just a gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
a
straight up
hook.
as a gimmick. But I saw so many artists all week long, like artists that we've worked with that I respect and everything, posting about this guy that's just like, oh man, fuck this guy.
And all that does is bring more attention to that guy.
Yeah.
Truly does.
But
Okay.
but then the part that disappointed me the most is
It got eaten.
well, it got eaten.
Somebody's response on what was it? So Art Basel is there anything that really sort of rivals what that is? It's like a gigantic trade show for galleries, would you say?
the LA
Kind of
Art
a
Show?
one sentence breakdown.
Yeah, the LA Art Show is also probably
Up there. like,
Yeah.
sort of on that sort. Okay.
I'm
not
sure there's a few shows like that. Kinda.
Yeah.
the thing about Art Basel is that it gets confused a lot with is that there's actually like 4 or 5 art shows or fairs that go on at the same time.
Mhm.
So there's Art Basel, and then there's like 4 or 5 others around it.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
taking place in Miami at the exact same time.
Yeah, it's like a citywide show. It's like a
Yeah.
whole weekend.
So
throughout,
everyone
like,
always
all of the
confuses
city.
these little like sublets that are part of other things with Art Basel, and it's not. It's something completely different. But
And if
they just accept it and publish it under that.
you're not familiar with Art Basel and you've watched Velvet Buzzsaw, it's like
I was
the
just
first
about to
5
bring that up.
minutes
Yeah.
Is that, and it's just as painful.
That's a great movie, though, because like if you hate pretentious bullshit like that, then all those people get murdered. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. It doesn't go well for them.
Yeah, but like all these artists, like that. So like it's, I don't remember what day of the week it was, but it broke basically on a Monday, and every day there was something about this banana all week long, and then Thursday or whatever, this banana gets eaten, and all these artists that I've actually worked with and respect and everything were all like, "Good, glad this banana got eaten," and it actually really bothered me. Honestly, that so many of these artists were so excited that the fact that this thing was destroyed. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think that this was a work of art by any means, but had it been, you know what I mean? Like, like my paintings, not everyone understands. Not everyone gets it.
On the other hand, do you think if the cameras weren't on Matthew, would he have destroyed Mark's stuff that was all just sitting there since it was the bane of his existence, basically?
True. But I mean, at the end of the day, somebody who, like, I don't get the whole banana concept, but to him, it was a work of art, or to somebody, it is a work of art. You know, whether we consider it garbage or whatever, it doesn't give us the right to actually go and destroy it. You know what I mean? If my painting's there and somebody looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's bullshit," does that give them the right to stab through the canvas and just cut it out and be like, "Fuck you"?
I think there's a big difference, though, between work that you actually put some effort into.
Right.
And then
I'm just breaking it.
I see what you're saying.
I'm just
though.
breaking it down to as simple as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody considers both of them works of art. Why does one get to be destroyed?
But what happens when it rots?
The interesting thing that I found in looking into the banana is that you weren't just buying a banana with duct tape. You were buying the specs on how to show
The specs of Chiquita
a
banana.
banana with duct tape at your gallery. That's essentially what you're buying the rights to. Is like, so the guy didn't just go up and throw a banana on a canvas with a piece of duct tape. Like, there were actual certificate of authenticity as well as plans on how to show, which those galleries who purchased now have the rights to sublet to smaller galleries. And like, could be the whole traveling banana with duct tape thing. Like, it's just like,
But the best part is also
I've never known that about that. That's how galleries deal with like 3-dimensional installations and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
But
every time you see like, oh, blank by so-and-so, like that artist X didn't come in there and actually paint it. They might have hired people to paint it to the specs that they purchased from them, you know?
But
Which
also
is
separate
all in all,
from that,
that's kind of interesting.
it
to
also
see
came
the
with a
backwards.
disclaimer though that this is a living object.
Yeah.
So we can't guarantee the length of its lifespan. We can't guarantee the amount of time you'll actually be able to enjoy this work of art.
But you will be able to enjoy the tax write-off from it.
Yeah. Oh, that was the joke I was making. That since it was so close to the end of
Launder
the
some
year,
money
it was like,
through bananas.
somebody just kind of like fluffed up $100,000 on that one time.
Yeah, and that's the best part is he sold two of them. They were each sold for $120,000, and then the third one got
the rights to show a banana in your gallery.
Yeah,
is what was sold.
The rights,
and then the rights went up. Like he saw the market.
I think the next art show we have here, we should just tape a banana up on the wall.
I feel like the bananas played out. Maybe like
a watermelon, and then have Gallagher show up.
See, I'm thinking more pineapple for when the drunk people.
Fuck you! You don't do that to pineapples.
They deserve better.
What's funny about pineapples?
When some drunk person decides they want to pet the pineapple.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, I think that's it, guys.
So, and then also in response, okay, the guy that ate the banana, hashtag that my art installation is guy eating banana. But if he was serious about having guy eating banana as a 3-dimensional or art installation, he would have had the blueprint set up on how guy should eat banana.
Right.
But the best part in all of that is...
so he literally could have sold guy eating banana as an art piece at Art Basel, but he didn't have the fucking paperwork set up to do it.
Best part in all that, though, they had the banana replaced on the wall within like less than 10 minutes, they said.
Oh,
And
I'm sure he bought at least a few bananas.
Oh, yeah.
But
they don't come in singles
would
usually.
cover that, which
There's
is
always
ridiculous.
money in the banana stand.
But then, like 2 days after that, some dude came up and trashed the wall and wrote, "Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself," in giant letters. Because that hasn't been played out like 800 million times. And the best part is he then gets arrested because he vandalized the gallery wall.
Well, keep in mind, that was a very, very recent thing that happened, like when the whole Banana Gate was going on.
Yeah.
It was also the whole Epstein thing happened right around that time period.
So this guy gets
Do
arrested
you
for
think
that.
they coincide?
Ooh. Is that how he died? He choked on a banana?
The banana killed Epstein.
Or is this how Trump starts a war?
So this
Because
dude,
we're debating bananas.
this dude writes it in like lipstick. He doesn't even write it in anything good, and ends up getting arrested for it. And he's the one who was actually charged with crime. The guy eating the $120,000 banana, he didn't get charged with anything.
It's obviously staged then.
Yeah.
You know?
And so now he actually, I was reading an article, he had appear in court like a week ago, and he's facing like all these criminal charges for vandalism. And he's reaching out to the guy who ate the banana and was like, "Hey, you should come down and talk on my behalf." The guy who ate the banana was like, "No, fuck you. I don't want to be associated with you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I don't want to be associated with you."
So, what do you guys want to do for the next episode? You got any ideas?
So what artists are you dying to learn more about?
I don't know. Like, we got talking about Tim's Vermeer the other night, and I'm kind of thinking I want to jump into that. And since we're hot off the trail of Mark Landis here.
Yeah,
Just,
art documentaries.
Yeah, because we could cover Vermeer and that
Maybe we could
in the
throw
same
a
thing.
exit through the gift shop in there also. as
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
who's
that'd be a
kind
good
of
one.
like,
I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Poking jokes at the art community and stuff as, what was it, Mr. Brainwash?
Yeah.
Yo, I remember seeing some of his work at galleries in San Francisco with like a $15,000-$20,000 price tag, and knowing like
That's it.
And well, like how he makes them and stuff that he just prints off, almost like what's his nuts we were just talking about, but hire a graphic designer and then just sort of spray paint on top of that and
He's
call
like
it an
50%
original
of his,
piece.
yeah, he's like 50% of the way to being Jeff Koons.
The bane of Bam's
We'll get to
existence.
that guy.
And we'll get there. Bam is gonna get there.
I'm really looking
Mark
forward to
Landis.
I'm really looking forward to ripping apart a bunch of modern art people because I just
Yeah.
can't stand it.
I don't mind certain contemporary modern artists. It's the whole gimmick thing that's when
Yeah.
it becomes too much for me.
Yeah, that's the main problem with me.
I just imagine they're Frank Reynolds when he goes into the gallery. Bullshit. Derivative.
Bullshit. Wait, now this I like.
That's just our air conditioner.
Sir, that's an air conditioner.
All right, guys, we're like right over 45 minutes here, so
Yeah.
I think we should wrap this up. This was pretty fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun this week. Thanks
Yeah.
for Christina
Thanks,
joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. Our documentary review of art and craft. You're tuning in for that quick discussion.
All right, let's plug social media and stuff right now. I'm Josh Ruff at joshruff.com on pretty much everything.
I am Reggie Cuvelier at Reggie Inks for Instagram and Facebook.
I'm Christina Maslar at Christina_Maslar at Instagram.
And I'm Bam Maslar with @Bam_Maslar for Instagram.
And don't forget about Crucible Gallery also.
Yep.
That
Or
too.
our shop
And
page,
Renaissance Studios
At
at RS Tattoo NY.
as well as our wonderful sponsor
At
the
the North Brewery.
at the North Brewery, reinventing the way you endicott.
Yeah.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
Make
All right,
Endicott
guys.
great again.
Bye.